Hello everyone and welcome to this revised playthrough for Expert in a slight different format. And here I'm going to show only on the big screen, it's going to be no camera, and we're going to slowly go over every hole in Expert. And obviously there has been some updates and I wanted to share that with you from the first days, and obviously some tweaks to the playthroughs and stuff like that as normal. So I'm gonna just get going here with the guide, and we're going to just take the time between every hole and every shot and see if we can't do much. We're also gonna talk about pros and cons on different type of stuff. So we're gonna start and we go in with the sniper on hole number 1. We are going to play this one with maximum distance, but we're going to play it as 15% over adjustment is what we're gonna do. And 15% over adjustment with the sniper is something that is, what can I say, it is pretty common, I guess. And we're gonna see if we can't do well here on hole number 1. Hole number 1 is it's a not a tricky hole, but in the end, to get a hole in one, you need to find that spot. And the problem that we do have here now is that the thing that we're doing is that we are going to adjust with a high wind down into the sand. But we're gonna start and we're going to go with 3 topspin, and we're going to go with 2 bars of left side spin, and 3 top, 2 left. And we're going to, as I said, play max plus 15, no matter what type of wind we are going to have. So our opponent plays with a navigator, and here you can see the value in having a spot found already from the start. That our opponent having to go with overpower on a par 3 like this just means that you haven't done your homework. And to be able to play well and do well in tournaments, you need to be doing your homework. Now in the end, you can see no matter what you do, really, you're gonna be fairly close to the pin anyway. So, but now it's all about getting the hole in one. So 7.1, and we're going to just add that already from the start. We're gonna play 3 top, 2 left, and we're going to go and look here now for the second bounce combined with the white ring slightly falling down into the sand. 7.1 is going to give us 8.3, and the thing that we're also going to do is that we're going to make sure that we do have no activity for the wind angle to come going center to the right. 8.3, gonna take it 2 swings. We'll hit the perfect. And we're gonna see here the ball is gonna come in nicely. We see that it turns around here and it's gonna roll and it's gonna roll and it's gonna roll for a beautiful little hole in one. So there we start directly. We have a nice spot. So key things, once again, 3 top, 2 left. You do that directly, so you do have the ball guideline then to have as a second reference. We can actually just take it again, as the replays are very good. The white ring slightly falling down into the sand with the sniper, with the second bounce on the fringe. And now we do have one little key element. It's like when we're going to pull our rings, we need to make sure that we have no activity or like no pointing towards any 1201 for that matter. So we do rather want to have a slight pull angle going 1159. And for those of you that do not know what I'm talking about, please make a comment in the comment section below and I will be happy to explain. So the more centered we can get the wind arrow, the better it's going to be. And as I said, we played it 8.3 rings. And in the end, important to have the ball perfectly centered into the adjustment ring. We take the shot, and as you know, the rest of this still gonna be the same. We get it in for a nice little hole in one. So let's go to hole number 2, and here on hole number 2 I have been kind of thinking, should I go with a Catholic Laser, should I go with the sniper? But now I do have the Apocalypse level 5, which is going to be very valuable. But even if I would be having an extra mile, I will still go with an with the sniper as the second shot club, with the knowledge of that we might have to go with a little bit of topspin with the second shot. But I think it's very, very important that we do stay with the sniper for a better chance to making an albatross. So we're gonna start here, and we're going to go max side spin. We're not gonna add any spin whatsoever here to top spin or anything. 8.9 gives us 7 rings, and the thing that we look for is obviously the ball guideline to be having the second bounce just over the sand there. And now we're gonna pull 7 rings here. That is 5, that is 7. You see, we're gonna have a little bit of overpower, and we're gonna have 1 ball of curl. Great shot to the left will still be fine though. It's totally fine to hit a great shot. Obviously hitting a good shot is gonna be a massive problem. We also want this ball to come as close to the top there as possible. Drive maximum distance plus 10. Our opponent's going to take his shot, and he's going to play with a Marlin. But once again, you see me playing with a Kingmaker. We do want to have the power 3 here, not just for the drive, but also for the second shot, to get that one in a nice way. So drive, max side spin. There is probably those of you that do want to play with 1 bar top spin or maybe 1.5 bar top spin. I'm not saying you are wrong with that. I just feel comfortable with going without top spin and then go with a tiny bit overpower, especially when there is a great shot, that the shot is great approved. Then it's definitely going to be a better way for you to go with a little overpower, so you not risk to go too far. So now you can see we are far away here from the pin. We're gonna use the top spin that we do have, and this one is going to be tricky, and we're gonna leave this one with 3 top, and we're gonna go 1 left here. So we're gonna back up a little bit, and now we're going to play this one maximum distance with nothing extra. So we're gonna play this one 9 rings. And then we're going to obviously try to hit perfect. Perfect ball. Gonna see how this one will come in. Might gonna miss this one a little bit short and to the right. Yeah, short, a little bit too much to the right there. So in the end, we didn't compensate for the wind push as much as we needed. So in this case here, don't be afraid to let the ball guideline go slightly through the hole. So use whatever top spin that gets you through the hole. It's sometimes going to be 2 bars, sometimes it's going to be 3 bars, sometimes it might not even be any bar, depending on how far you're reaching with your driver. And also when it comes to adjusting for the wind push, it is very valuable for us to make sure that we do add either elevation or just extra rings, and that's basically the same thing. Here I would consider playing this one a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and not because the true elevation is 10%. The true elevation is still 0, but the 10% works to then make sure that we do compensate for the wind push in the way that we want to. And our opponent struggling here big time with a Marlin, and I do think if you're gonna play a tournament and you don't just want to give away coins and give away the balls that you have earned in any form or bought, you know, you need to have a game plan, and I think that's very, very valuable. That's why, you know, many people do think tournaments are so fun, and also that's the reason why some people actually think tournaments isn't that fun at all. So we get to eagle, nothing really special here, and we're gonna go to hole number 3. Hole number 3 is a little favorite of mine, and I'm going to go and change. We're going to play with a quarterback. And the quarterback, if you do have it in level 9 or level 10, otherwise I would consider to maybe look into playing with Thor's hammer, because you do want to have at least 70. You can see we have 72. We do want to have 70 when it comes to backspin, and that's going to be super, super important. And now when we're going to play here now for hole number 3, I'm using an interesting adjustment here, and that is, if I'm going to play with anything that is on the 7 mile per hour, then I'm going to put my target into max distance. You're gonna notice here what I'm gonna do. And if I do have a wind that is above 8 mile per hour, I'm going to go one ring away from max overpower. Sorry, not max overpower, from max distance of your club. My apologies. And the reason I do that is to get myself a simple approach. I'm gonna get to green, and I'm not going to play the way that our opponent play. I know there is a possibility to get the hole in one, maybe in a slightly easier way, playing and bouncing into the rough, but it's also way easier to get a glitch from the rough and roll over the green into the rough, or with a great shot, either left or right, you might gonna miss the rough completely, or you're gonna get into the sand. Obviously, those of you that are feeling super comfortable with that shot, I'm not gonna say to you to change, but I don't want you to do this and gonna roll over. So we're gonna play with control, we're gonna play with backspin, and we're gonna play it very simple, with actually a pretty decent chance making the hole in one. So okay, 7.9. Then we're going to leave. I'm actually gonna take off a little bit. So we're gonna do like this. We're gonna stretch out so we see the ball, the yellow ring on the fairway. Then we're just gonna do like this. We're gonna drag from there back into normal, max back, and as much side to the right possible, which is gonna be approximately 5 bars there. Then we're gonna with right side spin, we're gonna take off just a tiny little bit, and then we're gonna go with curl. A decent amount of curl here, but you know, we want this ball to come in here on the fairway. Gonna go and bounce, and we're gonna get this one very close to the green, and we have no risk of getting a glitch in any form, and we're also actually giving ourselves still a pretty decent chance to make a hole in one. But in the end, it's a very safe eagle. And while I was adjusting, I might explain it wrong. Max backspin, which is 6.5 bars, and then it's going to be almost 5 bar side spin to the right. So you basically go max back, use as much side spin to the right possible, and then you are going to adjust by just stretching out your target where you see the yellow ring on the fairway. You pull it back to where the overpowered line is ending, and then you are removing just a tiny little bit if you have around 8 in wind, and if you have more than 8, you remove 1 ring. If you do have wind, I would say below 7.8. I changed my mind a little bit. If you have wind below 7.8, you're not gonna move yourself from the from the overpowered line. Good shot from our opponent, and we take a very simple eagle. No risk for anything. You can hit great left, great right. You will still be on the green, and yeah, in the end, why not take a safe eagle and risk the shot by bouncing on the fairway and then over into the rough. Gonna forfeit the shootouts. I'm not gonna play the shootouts, and we're gonna go directly to hole number 4. And hole number 4 is an interesting one. Here I'm actually playing without elevation, and we're gonna go, and we have the quarterback, we have a kingmaker, so just let's go. Here we do have a couple of things to think of. First, we're gonna start by adding the spin. It's going to be 3 bars backspin and as much side spin to the left possible. It's going to be almost all of the bar side spin. So once again, add 3 bars backspin, go with as much side spin to the left possible. And then we're going to look for two things when it comes to the landing position. First, we're going to look for the red ring on the bottom left to be just into the sand, with the ball guideline pointing at the hole, giving around one green square before the pin. And that's a lot of details that we're looking for, but we're not really done yet. So we're gonna start first with our opponent here, which is going to take a shot with a puck, I assume. I didn't see. Okay, yeah. That we need to do better, at least. So, our turn. Once again, as I said, spin first. We go with 3 back and as much side spin to the left possible. And then we're going to go up here. Now we're gonna look for the red ring being slightly inside, with the ball guideline pointing to the hole, you see? Nice. 7.8 is gonna give us 6.9 rings. And now it's important that we have a slight 12:01 pull angle. Okay? Which means that it goes from center to the right when we adjust. So 7.8 was 6.9. Now we need to hurry up a little bit. And we hit a great shot. That was unfortunate. You're gonna see us clipping the rough and we're gonna roll left of the pin. But as you could probably notice as well, if we were to hit a great shot, that shot will be beautifully, yeah, I can't maybe say in the hole, but it will be extremely close if not in the hole. I feel very comfortable with this adjustment, but there are some details, and the reason I'm first and foremost are from in the playthrough using a position a bit further back. It's because we are, with certain type of winds, going to adjust our rings up to a tiny plateau, which is going to make us gain distance because we're going from a lower point to a higher point. So we do need to compensate for that by either doing two things. One, we can pull back half a ring, or we could start further down. And for me, it's a no-brainer. We start further down. Why having to bother pulling back half a ring or a ring, where there is a big chance when you do pull back that you might going to slip a little bit with your finger, and especially if you're using and playing on a phone, everyone knows how hard it is to get that to be exactly pulling back straight. So I start with further back and then have everything included. Do not forget the pull angle that has to be towards a 12:01. Nice. We have a decent start here, absolutely. And with a great ball there, which was very unfortunate. Would be nice to see how that would be going. So in the end here, I'm going to change to an extra mile or apocalypse. Yeah, we can play with apocalypse. It doesn't really matter. The important part is that we do have the sniper. And now we do need to make sure here. It's going to be a tough hole, hole number 5. Like, we're trying to go for the rough bump by the green, but the rough bump there is not really our best friend. But we're going to do, obviously, our very best to do well. But we're going to start with a drive. And we start with 6 topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. And here we do have almost 6, so this is going to be totally fine. And now we're going to back up here, and we're going to play this one back here. So you see here, we do have half of the blue ring inside the rough to the left. Maximum distance plus 10 gives us 6.2 rings. Now I zoom out so the tree is not going to be in my way. 6.2. And then we're just going to go with a normal shot. And when I say normal shot, I mean we're going without going with any curl or overpower for that matter. Just like a straight shot down the middle, and we're gonna find ourselves nicely on the fairway. Obviously you can reduce and play with less topspin if you want to, but 6 bars topspin getting us into a very nice and fine angle here. And you know, for those of you that play with the Guardian, there is a Guardian shot here as well, but I do think due to being able to play with a ball guideline, I think the sniper shot is going long-term wise being better, but it might take a little time to dial in. The Guardian shot, you might gonna get close sometimes, and sometimes not. You might gonna drop it sometimes, but the problem with the Guardian shot is that you don't have a ball guideline, and it's extremely tough to get that one set up in exactly the same way every single time. And that is something I do really dislike, because when you cannot really set it up in the same way as you have done the last time, then really what's the point? Then it's all down to luck almost, at least in my opinion. So 5.2 bars backspin, gonna be okay, 5.2, and we're gonna play 2 bars of right side spin. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna look, and the thing we're gonna look for is that we're gonna look for half of the red ring here, and we're going to offset this one to here where it stops, you see? So approximately 1.5 green square to the right. Now we're gonna play this one max distance, weirdly enough, and we're gonna make sure that we not have any 1159 pull angle here. Very, very important. Perfect ball. Gonna bounce. You see here, it takes the fall down. Getting that one in for a very, very nice eagle here on hole 5. And there you can see we need to offset, and I will have to also mention that that wasn't a full max distance plus 0. It was actually a 1-to-1 adjustment. I didn't get to pull all the rings, so it was a little bit lucky to get there, but at the same time we got there, which is nice. Then we can build from there. So we played it a 1-to-1, but that is based on getting into the same position with the drive, obviously, with a 1.5 green square to the right offset of the pin. Very nice drop though, and that's what I said, you know, it's easier with the ball guideline now when we know where the ball guideline was, and we can replicate it in a very nice way. So in the end, I know this video might be a little bit slow, but I'm trying to talk a little bit slower than normal and trying to go over everything and trying to give you a maximum value of this a little bit longer playthrough video of Expert. And I'm playing at the same time, so that's why it might sound a bit weird sometimes when I'm trying to focus as well. Hole number 6, and this is going to be important. Now we're going to stick with our puck because we do need the distance. And now we're going to have the second shot, which in itself is going to be super interesting. But we're going to start by doing the drive. I'm already at the second shot, you know, feeling so pumped. So we're going to see. So now we do have a drop on 1 with a nice hole in 1. We do have the eagle on 2. We do have the safe eagle on hole 3. We do have a great shot on 4, which with a perfect would have been super close, which means that we are absolutely on the point. And then with hole 5, we got the eagle, which is nice. And now on hole 6 is going to be, at least in my opinion, we need to get minimum on an eagle. Hopefully we can find ourselves getting into a very good position for the albatross. But we start with a drive, and we have a puck 5, and here we play max plus 20, but we won't be going up into complete max distance of our club. That is very important, because if we go up to exactly max distance, we're going to have a very thin fairway to play on, and we have to aim super duper close to the rough on the right. Our opponent takes the drive. Gonna be nice, very close to the rough there though, but we're gonna be close. And I do like the position he has now. A little bit further in front, gonna be no problem reaching with the sniper, and that's our goal as well. So we're gonna play 5 top and as much side spin to the right possible. And now I'm going to get myself having half of the red ring inside the rough to the right, and we're gonna start at +7 when we play with an apoc 5. If you have an extra mile, you need to start further up because you don't have the same distance as we do have on the apoc 5. We have a reverse adjustment here just to make sure we get it correct, and we're gonna play this one 6.2 rings. 5, 6.2 and a little change. Half a ball of curl to the right. Perfect ball. And now with the curl together with the side spin and the top spin, we're gonna get in here. 5 top, coming into a very nice position here. And this is a position we are able to replicate with the setup all the time. 365 yards is a very good yardage to set us up now for the second shot. The second shot we're going to play with the sniper, and now it comes to a little thing that is going to be super interesting for me to try out. I've been a little left, a little left, a little left, and hopefully we can. If we're gonna miss, we're gonna miss right. That's at least the plan. If we do get it in the hole, I'm happy, but if we miss, I want to miss right. So we're going to make sure that that's gonna be at least the plan. And the reason I want that to be the plan is because when I do have a miss on the left and I do get a miss to the right, then I know the adjustment is going to be somewhere in between. And that might sound a bit strange, but that is how you build a solid adjustment. So no elevation for the second shot, so we're going to play this one in max distance, or like with max distance numbers, which is 8.8. And we're gonna go with max side spin here, and we're gonna try to actually go back, and we're gonna see, we're gonna play this one here. You see here that we are deliberately aiming way more to the right, 8.6. And now I'm actually gonna make sure that I'm not having any pull angle 1201, so we're gonna be more towards 1159. 8.6, as I said, 8.8. And then we're gonna take just a normal shot. With a great left here. We're gonna get it down there though, but at the same time we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna miss left. Not by super much, but we're gonna miss left with a perfect shot. Would have been close, and we need to aim close there to the top. Great left is fine, great right should be fine as well, but at the same time, you know, a little bit disappointing to hit great there, but with the sniper it is a bit tougher to hit a perfect shot there. Okay, we're gonna put it in, take the eagle, and we're gonna go to the final par 3 in this tournament, or at least, you know, for this playthrough. It's not gonna be the final one we play. Eagle, at least, as I said, we are there. Perfect shot would have been close, or at least closer. I can never obviously say that it would have been in if I would be hitting perfect, but it is what it is. Now for hole 7, there is a rough bump here. Sorry, a sand bump, I'm gonna say. And, you know, it's up to you if you want to play that or not. I'm going to play a route that I feel extremely comfortable with, that I know is getting me there. And I can hit great left, great right, and I don't have to feel uncomfortable going for a sand bump, because I know it's going to be the first time for many. But at the same time, there is an excellent sand bump on this hole as well. And but we're gonna start by going with the Goliath here. And the reason we choose the Goliath instead of the Grizzly, or instead of the Saturn, or not the B52, but Grizzly, Saturn, Backbone, is because we do have distance with the Goliath. And the reason I want to have the Goliath instead of the B52 is due to its rings, because I'm using the red ring as a reference when I set up my shot. And you're gonna notice that in just a bit. So we're gonna start by going with max right 2.5 bar backspin. Then we're going to look for the +2. You can see that we do have some plus yardage. I'm gonna look for just where it turned from +3 to +2. and half of the red ring inside the rough there to the right. And we're gonna play this one with a 6 ring adjustment. 9.1, so it's a max distance plus 20%. Perfect ball. Gonna bounce, and it's gonna come in here very, very nicely, and we just missed that one to the left. And the reason we do miss that one to the left though is what I think has to be with the wind strength. When we do have a stronger wind, we're going to have a slight longer push, like the first push we are getting with the first bounce. So with a slight stronger wind, like a 9, and I would say everything above like an 8.7, then I would move to go with a little bit more of the red ring inside the rough. But once we get wind that is going to be somewhere between 7.7 to an 8.6, then we're gonna play it exactly as I did there. Then I strongly believe that would have been getting in the hole. And if we do have a very low wind, which could be down to 7 miles per hour with a Kingmaker, then we're going to go with a little bit less of the red ring inside the rough there, just to compensate for different reactions it's having depending on the wind strength. A lot of details once again, but this is what we get. This is why I want to do this as well, because you that plays in Expert hopefully is willing to pay attention to those details. So we get it in, we get a birdie, which is nice. And our opponent as well, so we're gonna forfeit the shootout, and then we're going to go and play with we're gonna play hole number 8. And here I'm going to go a little bit differently than I have had in the guide before. It's because here I want us to play with a club that have a decent ball guideline, and for many of us, you know, we don't really have a B52, you know, level 7. Sure, we have a Grizzly level 8, but we're not gonna use that one. So we're gonna focus on actually playing with the Hornet here. And the reason we want to play with the Hornet, it's because of the top spin. Sure, we have only a 4.1 ball guideline, but we're gonna survive with that. We're actually gonna check, what do we have, the Kingfisher. It does get actually a good ball guideline in the start. So now we're going to look for hole number 8, and we're going to look to play this one actually with an extra mile level 8. I rather want to play with an extra mile here than the Apocalypse, because I do feel more, or like better dialed in when it comes to the extra mile with drive. Obviously nothing wrong to play with Apocalypse whatsoever, but just a confidence thing, and sometimes you can obviously do that when it does not really have a difference, to be honest, with what driver you're playing with in the end. So the thing that we're gonna look for here now is that we're going to play this one on the right hand side. There is a way going to the left and just going with a short iron towards the pin. I'm definitely not against that, but I do think we have a great value going straight forward, as we then can dial it in based by yardage notes. And when we go with a straightforward drive, it gives us a yardage every time that we can rely on, consistent. And consistency is what makes you win tournaments. So I'm gonna play this drive maximum distance plus 15 with extra mile level 8. And with a 7.5, we're gonna take that later. So we're gonna start here actually pretty far up, and we're gonna go with actually the full blue ring. So we're gonna change the position a little bit, and then we're gonna go 3 right, and we're gonna go 2 back, okay? And the thing, oh sorry, we're gonna go 2.5 back, my bad, 2.5 back, 7.5 gives us 4.3 rings. We adjust, we get just into max position. And obviously if you do get into overpower, you might want to just add a tiny bit of overpower to just feel better with that. So you see here we're getting a very nice bounce, very nice roll, and we're getting into 291 yards. And that is obviously a yardage that you need to write down. Details, details, details. Super important. But now the beautiful part is that we actually get a shot here with our Hornet. And the reason we play with a Hornet instead of the Thorn, as I said from the start, topspin. We do want to have a decent amount of topspin for the second shot, which otherwise would have been a struggle for us if we do not have that topspin. Second shot from here is going to be played 10% over adjustment. You can play this one 15%, 20% or 0. It's all down to what adjustment you're choosing, but I'm gonna play it 10. So we're gonna look there, we have max, and back here we do have min. So we're gonna play this one a little bit more than medium distance here. So we have a 6-7, we have a 2-7-7. We're gonna play this one 7.5. So we're gonna get it there. And then we actually run out of time. Oh my god, we couldn't find a spot, but I'm not gonna cut this one away. We're definitely not gonna cut this one away, because now we actually get a redo. And after such a good start that we had, you know, we can survive that. So we get a redo. We took too long, we couldn't really find a good spot, and that obviously speaks against it. But that is, once again, we need to find a slight different setup. So I'm going to use some right spin here and get myself more to the left and actually kick in and going with max topspin here. So I'm gonna choose the spin adjustment quickly and then find the spot, and we're not gonna be slow. So once again we get a redo, which is once again that's something we can survive with. Then we do have, we're gonna play with that with a pretty big ball guideline here and see how this ball is actually gonna act. So 7.5. Coming in a little bit hot, but we do drop that one. So now we do have a reference here. And the thing is, we need to, like, the reason we get a glitchy ball guideline is that we only have 4.1 in ball guideline. So it's going to be a bit glitchy, but we do need to play this one. It's pretty obvious. We need to play it max side spin to the right, but we cannot play it with max top spin. Then we risk rolling over the cup. So we do need to, oh my god, what happened there? We need to go and play that one with all but half a bar of topspin with the Hornet. Still, we saved the birdie, which was nice. That's a clutch save for sure. Hole number 9, and now we're going to pick the driver that gives us the most distance, and I'm going to play with Apocalypse, and now I'm actually going to go up and play with a Berserker Ball. Even though we're going to have a little headwind, I do want to play with the Berserker Ball. Then I'm going to give myself a much better time with the drive and then with the second shot as well. So hole number 9, see how we can finish up here. And the thing is with hole number 9 here is that we're going to have a tough drive. No matter how you're choosing to approach this hole, you're gonna have a tough drive. But I choose to play with a Berserker Ball, give myself power 5, and and then have a pretty nice time going for the second shot if we in the end are reaching to a spot that we are feeling comfortable with. And in the end, felt nice with hole number 8 here. And before we go to hole 9, we can talk a little bit about hole 8. And we can talk about just a little bit because we're gonna start here. And hole 8, once again, rough bump is going to be the play for me. Now we do have a yardage, we do have a drop. We only need to tweak the spin. And the way that I played it, I played that shot for 8.3 wind. I played it 7.5 rings, where mid distance is 6.7 with the Hornet. So if you want to just transform that to just a clear way with elevation, then you can actually do and play that one mid plus 25% with the Hornet. Then you're getting 7.6, but I think 7.6 and 7.5 with a accurate club like the Hornet is not going to give you that big of a difference, to be honest. So if you want to transform it, play it mid plus 25. Otherwise, just keep playing it as I played it. I played mid plus 10 plus 0.8 rings. Hole number 9, the drive, 10% over adjustment. And you can see we do have a headwind already from the start. I'm gonna play max top and I'm gonna play 3 left. And the thing is that we're gonna do, we're gonna go full blast overpower here. 9.2 rings. You see that I'm letting my ball guideline to be a little bit on the left hand side here. Just to make sure, you know, that we compensate for the wind push. A little great right. Let's see if we can stay on the fairway here. We can, but we do get we did get a bounce into the rough, but as we do have the side spin, it is going to be okay. We are in a spot that might not be the best one in the world, but at the same time, we have a berserker balls. We're kind of going with that, or like gambling a little bit with that. With bad drives here, you're gonna be not dead. It's gonna be tough, but I think once again as a safety net, a berserker ball will give you a possibility if you clip the rough and roll out, and give you still a chance to actually reach over to a decent spot here for your for the pin. So you see here now we do have an option where we can play here, which is going to be the option that I'm going to choose. So I'm going to play with max top. I'm gonna aim down here. We're gonna use a lot of curl, and we're gonna play this one max distance. So I'm gonna let the red ring here, you see we're aiming directly into that, and that's obviously not gonna be the way we wanna play it. So we do need to go with curl. So 10.8 rings, because we're not gonna play with any elevation. 8 and 2.8. And then we're gonna go full curl sniper. Great left, it's not preferred obviously. Bounce on the fairway here, and we roll this one very, very nicely up there. So with a perfect, you know, we would have been closer, but I'm not expecting anything else than an eagle. But here you can see the value in playing with a berserker ball. With a kingmaker or a power 4 ball, you would have to overpower that shot. With a berserker or a power 5 ball, that would be good. Those of you having a stealth ball, or maybe an autumn ball, a gear ball, any of those balls that gives you power 5 but with a little wind resistance, reef ball as well is one ball, then you can play with those. I only play with a berserker as trying to just get myself around with balls that we can actually get without spending any money. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a nice little longer walkthrough or playthrough, whatever you want to call it, for the expert, kind of revised from the one we had earlier. And this one is a little bit longer. It has more talks, it has more gameplay in it, as I'm showing the opponent's shot as well. But especially we do have some better shots than or like better tweaked shots than we had in the first playthrough. And I think we can learn a lot here, especially when it comes to, we have a good shot on hole 1, we do have a good shot on hole number 3, 4, 5, and then we do have as well a good shot on 7. You know, we have a lot of good shots. -15 with a timeout and then a drop on hole 8. You know, I consider myself being very satisfied with that. And I'm going to stream I'm going to stream expert, and this one is a little compensation for I didn't stream any expert to show, you know, the latest setup that I do have. Hopefully this is going to help. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions whatsoever, and I will be happy to help. Good luck.